Hi everyone, it's Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 3, Early Bold Predictions. We are going to recap a little bit of what we discussed in our Episode 1, Episode 2. So we're going to funnel it down, try to get you guys the best possible theories going into this. And I saw that we had William super chatting earlier, now we got Valar. Valar says, hello 999 Army, Kill Steph, Emmy Kills, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, channel members, and all super chatters that are out there. Thank you for everything that you guys do. And you can see the Patreon Army up on the screen. And, these pre-game conversations are pretty good. So it's like you ask a simple question, and then you can see all the weed experts come out of the woodwork. I know. It's like, no. And then all of a sudden, yeah, they make this and this and this. So there are some experts out there. But we're going to get into a little bit of Walking Dead tonight. I know some people are calling it off-season. I don't think it's off-season. I think we're scaling back a little bit. There's a lot of stuff right around the corner. They're going to be filming next week. We're not talking Game of Thrones tonight. I know there's a lot of excitement about that. I'll talk about the schedule in a little bit. And then we got Stranger Things, Fear the Walking Dead. So you guys probably did see the updated schedule. Moderators, myself, you guys, the Army's been working overtime, so we decided this week and next week we are going to scale it back a little bit. So here's the schedule. If you're too lazy to look on our Facebook fan page where it's posted, I will go ahead and tell you. Tonight's Wednesday, so we're doing our Walking Dead update. We're not doing a stream tomorrow night on Thursday. We're going to be doing Freestyle Friday at 8 o'clock. And we're taking Saturday off. I know some of the international viewers, it's kind of like, Saturday morning. But we will do our Sunday morning streams instead of Saturday. So Sunday, we got a noon stream, which will be Coffee with Kills. We got a Game of Thrones countdown. We got Game of Thrones reaction. And then on Monday, we're going to do our last random things before we take a break. And we'll also do Game of Thrones recap. So for those of you keeping score at home, we will do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. That's going to be our schedule for the next couple weeks. So, you guys ready to get started with this? All right, let's get into it. So, really quick recap. Episode 1 and Episode 2, the way we thought this was going to go down is that Alpha has migrated to a different area. So, it's going to take her a little bit of time to get back. There will be some clues, more than likely, of our group crossing over the border, which is going to piss her off again, and she promised not to be taken advantage of again or not to be weak again. So it does look like by Episode 3 it's going to ramp up. We also said in Episode 1 and 2, more than likely, there's going to be the Negan and Carol fallout. There's going to be a couple clues with Michonne that, maybe another voice on the radio. June Smith, any volunteers of who we might hear over the radio? And then if we do hear a kind of a muffled, older Coral type of voice, then maybe Father G and Negan will spill the beans a little bit about the helicopter. And then Michonne has a vision quest. She's got a mission of how this is going to go down. We do think Judith will be there for a while. So that's kind of where we left it after the first couple episodes. So we didn't think there would be a whole lot of death. It's going to be kind of Alpha making her way back. And then, everybody getting to know each other again, all the drama. But Episode 3 is where I think it's going to take a little bit of a turn for the worse. I think that's where Alpha's going to be back. Everything's went down, and I do think there's going to be some death by the time we get to Episode 3. We didn't predict a lot of death in 1 and 2. So based on what I just talked about, if we're up to that point, give me... And Julia, when is our group going to talk retaliation? The way I think it's going to go down is I think the war's got to get started and there's going to have to be more death. I don't think they're planning like, hey, let's get back at Alpha. I think they think she might have moved on. You killed a lot of ours. We killed some of yours. You're creepy and we don't want to mess with you. But they are going to be pushed to a limit. So I think there's going to have to be a little bit more ruthlessness on Alpha's part before the group hits rock bottom and fights back. You guys think that's a good deal? So who could be the sacrificial lambs that get taken out that are going to push us to full-scale Whisperer War? I need your bold death prediction for episode number 3, and that's where I think it's going to go down. I got a couple more bold predictions too, but I want to get to this one first and foremost. Luke, Gage, Rosita, Father G. We're out there. We're all over the place. Luke, I do think Luke's on borrowed time. I agree. Ezekiel and a pregnant Rosita. Julia, that's bold. I don't know that we'll lose both of them in one episode. I think they're such big characters, and if Walking Dead is smart, you got to space them out, right? You can't kill the King and Rosita, both. Whoa, Kel, come on, slow your roll, player. Kelly, Luke, Gage, and Father, all four in one episode? No. We don't lose that many characters unless it's like a mid-season finale or a hyped up Red Fair. That's a lot. So Kel thinks it's going to be like full-scale Pike scene number 2. I mean, you could see Alpha, right? Your people crossed our borders a second time. There will be conflict again because you did not get my message the first time. There you go. It's a long, that's like half the episode. You throw in a couple commercials and it's like nothing else happened. It was an Alpha speech and it took 30 minutes. Luke and Sadiq. She needs to die. Yeah, I know. There is no saving Alpha. You can redeem yourself a Negan. A Father G has been redeemed a couple of times. He killed all the people in the church and then he ratted the people out. But you can't redeem an Alpha. There's nothing possible that Alpha can do to ever have her life spared. Beta beating Alpha, says David. I think Beta is loyal to a fault. And I put this, it's just a topic of conversation. I don't feel like there's going to be any rift whatsoever. So I didn't want to give like all of my bold predictions, in the first 5 minutes of the stream because I wanted to break them down a little bit. But I've kind of seen how I think episode 3 is going to play out. But I want to give you kind of bits and pieces to see if you guys kind of get to the same finish line that I get to. Because we think that Carol and Negan would have a little bit of a fallout, or maybe not complete acceptance, but they can't kill Negan because of Rick. And because Michonne might be focused on finding Rick by this point, is it conceivable in episode number 3, Negan, who has already served time, who has already killed Simon, who has already saved Judith, who has already saved Daryl's dog, not enough? Is it possible that Negan comes up with his plan to infiltrate the Whispers? Hey, I can blend in with them. You guys are never going to forgive me. You're never going to accept me unless I actually risk my life. Put it all on the line. I want to get some thoughts on that. June Smith, let's put Jon Snow and Rick together and go ahead and make my day. Yes! June. I don't even have a movie. I don't even think you need a movie. But I'm just curious. Like 5 minutes ago, you were in love with Sir Davos, and then you went to John Smith. A little bit of loyalty, please. Just a little bit. William says, don't think that Negan goes undercover. Undercover angels, midnight fantasy. I never had a dream that... So, I think he does. I think that little scene that we saw of Negan turning around smiling, I think they were so far ahead of the game. I know a lot of times that, there's some extra clips. Yeah, see, June, I even went beyond Jon Snow. I just gave him John Smith from now on. I predict everyone who signed the charter will die in season 10 except Carol. Is it, Steph? Is June having a total eclipse of the heart? It's the last little bit of redemption. And I don't think it's redemption for the fans. I mean, as we've talked about, we're probably at a point now where I could safely say 90 to 95% of the Walking Dead fans are probably cool with Negan. So I don't think Negan infiltrating the Whisperers is to try to get the last 5 to 10% of the fans to like him. I think it's for his arc. I think it's for his character. I think it's for Negan. That the character is not satisfied being a freeloader or somebody that I think he personally sees the bigger picture, and now he's inclined to do something without asking, to do something to prove his point. You know what, though? Guess what that makes him in episode number 10? And I would not have said this before he had a change of heart. Let's see if you guys feel the same about this one. A badass? Nope. No, RJ. That's not what I'm talking about. Negan going out there, Crystal says the hero. No, not anymore. I think it makes him expendable. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be the first person to say it. I'm going to put a bold prediction down right here, right now. I think Negan's arc will start to wear down. Because he's done all these great things. We've seen the bad, we've seen the good. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of Negan. You know what? Julia's like, we can't lose JDM. Julia, that's the same thing people said with Carl. It's the same thing people said with Michonne. It's the same thing people said with Rick. We absolutely can lose JDM. Absolutely. And I'm going to say it's not entirely out of the scope of possibility that we lose him in season 10. Not early, not episode 3, not episode 4. What I'm saying is that start to look for it. Start to look for those behaviors. We got Fluff the Flamethrower. It'd kind of be funny if Daryl kneecapped Negan thinking he's a Fluff. An arrow to the knee. William, the Walking Dead billboard. I think it's just a straight up run in and battle, and that's when we'll lose people. Negan standing with them works better for me. It's okay, Rebecca. You don't have to accept it. It's fine. We can agree not to agree. Let me just remind the group. Just let me. Should I stake my record? I mean, I got a pretty good record with this stuff. With these predictions, before the spoilers come out. And the truth is, most of the time, the audience does not agree. And Deidre, I'm not saying, she says Danny's leaving, what happens to Judith? I'm not saying that you lose Negan in episode 3, episode 4, episode 8. What I'm saying is his arc is now expendable. Once he gets through the Whisper War, what do you do with him? I mean, I don't think anybody here trusts him to lead. I don't. I'm certainly not going to follow him. Are you going to take him full circle again and give him a bat and have him turn on people? Or are you going to have Heavenly Angel Negan? I don't see that happening long term. There's only so much cuteness you can put in the character of Negan. When he was evil and he had good one-liners, yeah, he was evil, but he was slightly funny. But then that wore on people. Now he becomes good, mostly good, not good. And his lines will be catchy, they'll be funny. But there's only so much. And I think that when you get too comfortable, when you think The Walking Dead can't do it, they do it. So, what if... All right. Did anybody see Rick leaving a couple years ago? I know one or two people are going to say, yeah, I knew it was going to happen, right? But most people know. Did anybody see Michonne leaving? Becoming a superstar, doing movies on Black Panther? Or even Maggie? So we can't go into this saying, not going to happen. I mean, Negan could be on X-Men before you know it. So the one thing we know is no characters are immune. E. Beach says, come on, Kills, not my guy. Keep Negan. So let me backtrack just for a minute here. I'm not saying he's gone. What I'm saying is he's now on the radar. He's not immune. Daryl is immune. Carol is immune. Daryl and Carol aren't going anywhere. Negan is no longer immune once he saves the group and infiltrates the Whispers. That's all I'm saying. Do I think he dies in season 10? Probably not. But I'm not ruling it out. Just not ruling it out yet. I think they're all fair questions. William, The Walking Dead Billboard, says, I didn't see it coming, and that night I was like, what's going to happen now? The show, the new characters pulled me right back in. So, here's just a little bit of tidbit of information. And I've kind of been noticing this for a while, especially with The Walking Dead. AMC and The Walking Dead has made a conscious effort not to put all their eggs in one basket. And I think it started a few years back when people would say, if Daryl dies, we riot. You know, there was some joking to that, but there's some seriousness to it. So what their effort has been is to start to build up other characters that otherwise might not. Eugene's at a good place right now. But Rosita used to have some major star power. I would say Rosita probably is not even in the top 10 best characters on The Walking Dead right now. I would not have said that a couple of years ago. Think about this for a second. Think about the characters that had a little bit more face time. And they sort of wound them down a little bit. E. Beach says, what are the odds of story changing for Negan? Well, Eric, I think the story's already changed. Negan has probably had the biggest transitional arc of any character on any show ever. And Father G probably is not too far behind that. So RJ says, she is in my book. Well, RJ, you must not have liked season 9 very much because Rosita wasn't really a part of season 9. She got bumped on the head. She got bumped in other places too. But that was pretty much the end of her season. There was not a whole lot to her character last year. And in fact, there wasn't a whole lot to Jeffrey Dean Morgan for a while. But now that he's out there saving puppies, you know, the group's changed a little bit. Would you guys agree that Matt Lentz got more scenes last season than Rosita? I got a question, okay? As far as FaceTime last season, would you guys say that Henry was in the top 5 of like overall story arc last season? June Smith says, there's a man with a hat and a beard and bow legs that no one will ever take his place. And his name is Rick Grimes, and he'll be back. He won't be back, June. He won't ever be back. I'm not going to break it to you like I had to tell William about Tupac, but he's not coming back to the show. E. Beach, changing in Negan favor. JDM has too much star. Well, of course he has too much star. But if Negan's character gets boring and Jeffrey Dean Morgan can go make movies, does Jeffrey Dean Morgan hang on to The Walking Dead? Just food for thought. I'm not saying they can't pay him. You know, they paid the dude, they pay him $500,000 an episode. Now, you can figure out some rough math there. That's about $8 million a year. But he could do a couple movies and make $8 million a year. Tom the Bug. Ultra 7 and Ultraman are the only ones who can truly destroy the walkers. So, Tom, what if Negan leaves to become Ultraman? Then what would happen? We'd have a little bit of a dilemma. Negan leaves the show, becomes Ultraman, and an Ultraman attacks the walkers. So is that Negan killing the walkers, or is that Ultraman killing the walkers? What do you think? Just let that sink in for a minute. Jack, he is. You know, he's more popular than ever. opportunities present themselves. It's not like I don't think he had opportunities before. I really think he wanted to play Negan. And the money wasn't bad. But there could certainly... You're killing me, Smalls. Well, it's my job. And I know Skybound, they do, who's trending, who's not trending. If June Smith says kills when Rick returns, I want you to do 4 weeks of streams about him because I told you so. That's our bet. June, if Rick were to return to the show, I would do a 2-hour stream about Rick Grimes. I'd grow out a beard, and I'd stand naked on top of the Empire State Building and scream, "I love Rick Grimes," live for all of you guys, if that were to ever happen. That's how convinced I am Rick Grimes is never coming back to the TV show. Ever, ever, ever. Not going to happen. It's the movie. Tom Bug Ferreira says Ultraman would have to merge souls with Negan. Yeah. I could see that happening, Bug. Sheila Mac 10, you think Negan can fall in love with a human bat? Yes, I do. He's convinced himself that that is the soul of his dead wife. And that's all he has left. Everybody's asking Tom, like, who's Ultraman? Oh, I did. I did forget that Friday night after Freestyle Friday, I will be seeing Avengers Endgame, and the Sunday morning stream at noon will be an Avengers reaction video. So if you get to see it Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, then you're going to want to join us for that stream. If not, we are going to be talking spoilers. I forgot to announce that. William, the Walking Dead Billboard, said Rick is going to come back with Tupac buys. You guys are killing me. Yes. Tom Bug, a Japanese superhero who fights giant monsters. Tom, were you a fan of Space Giants? Could the Space Giants beat Ultraman? Goldar, Silvar, and Gam? Just think about that for a second. All right, so let me jump into a little bit more of my Season 3 bold predictions, the way I think it's going to play out, how we're going to gradually unravel it. I do think The Walking Dead is very well known for introducing new characters, new groups. I have no idea where to even start from this, but this is about the time where they'd say, hey, such and such, is playing, it's Brett Butler, or whether it was, the person that played Ozzy, or whether it was when Oceanside came out. Do you guys think that episode 3 would be a good time for them to introduce some new characters? Would that be a bold prediction? Now, I don't know. I don't want to. Maybe a Commonwealth straggler, somebody that shows up early. I agree, Amy. Ozzy should have lived. Julia says absolutely what happened. Yeah, they got to keep it fresh, right? So episode 3, with the vengeance of Alpha, I think would be a good kill a couple and bring some new people on board. And if they do it right, you'll start forgetting. or to lessen the impact. Yeah, I know they wanted Ozzy and DJ to run in there and be badasses and save the group, and they all died trying all of that. I'd have been okay if it was just DJ, right? Or could they have killed Sadiq and left Ozzy alive to tell the story? How about that? Wouldn't that have been a little bit better? Hey, you know what? Sadiq's involved in this love rhombus anyway. Pike Sadiq and tie up Ozzy. Because if they would have tied up Ozzy, could you imagine how that would have played out? Ozzy's tied to the tree. Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Yumi, they kind of go by, and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you tied up? And then Ozzy is going to be like, have a toothpick still in his mouth, beat up a little bit. He's going to say, I think you owe me 3 movies now. And then he just goes back and watches a movie. And we'd be okay with that. It's like, okay. But then there wouldn't have been this whole Sadiq's a traitor. It'd have been like, Ozzy's cool. Yeah, forget Sadiq. It didn't matter if he's a traitor or not. He's dead. And then that would have brought closure. We'd have never had the drama and debate. Well, William, apparently they didn't believe Sadiq either. At least a lot of people didn't believe him. How many people here would have believed Ozzy if Ozzy was tied up? All right, we got Bug. It'd be awesome if James Rolfe was in the show. Who is he again? You're going to have to let me know who that is. RJ. DJ had a small part in Cobra Kai. Thought I saw him. I didn't see Cobra Kai either. Is that like a Karate Kid spinoff? Like Karate Kid 30 years later? Is that the deal with that? It is? Okay. Ralph Macchio, where he puts the wax on and then wax off? That guy? All right. Tom Ferreira, the angry video game nerd. Okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is. A must-watch. Okay. If it's a must-watch, how come I've never seen it before? Yeah, if he's on YouTube, I haven't seen him. So Tom says he's hilarious. Does he rant? So if he's angry, does he get mad about things? Leanne's like, this random thing. I'm lost too. I'm just going with it. Occasionally, Leanne, I'll reel it back in and I'll get back to episode 3 predictions. All right. So we have sort of laid some groundwork here. So we predicted a couple kills. We've talked about Negan potentially having a plan to redeem himself for himself, not for anybody else. Michonne one step closer to leaving because it would be episode 3. And we know she's leaving in the first few episodes. So you're going to have some Michonne story. A new group introduced. But we can't leave it at that, can we? So we need a little bit more high drama. Tom, Bear McCreary did the music for James' film. Is it like soundtrack music? Or is there some lyrics in there, Tom? I gotta have some lyrics. Lyrics move me. So I got one more bold prediction. Could The Walking Dead, you know how Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, they kind of borrow each other's, some little jokes here and there, whether it's walkers or White Walkers, stuff. You got wolves in Game of Thrones, Daryl finally gets his dog, that type of thing. Could we have the Mad King? Could Ezekiel start to lose his mind a little bit? Flamethrower. I would say Rosita goes into labor, but pregnancies last at least 2 seasons on The Walking Dead. It's a good point. Tom, just music, but it's all right, I'll check it out, Tom. I mean, Ezekiel is in a tough spot. So with the groups being split up, I don't think we can lose Rosita or we can lose Luke, but we could lose Ezekiel. Maybe Ezekiel starts to turn, starts to go crazy, gets more jealous, doesn't like his life, tries to take out Alpha's group on his own. Maybe does something outside of his capacity. Now, you can't come back and say, well, I guess you can. I'm not going to tell you what you can't do. I'm just saying it probably would not be wise of us to say, well, we can't lose Negan. Well, we can't lose Ezekiel because we like Ezekiel. Well, we can't lose. I don't think we can just, stamp these characters and say they're not going anywhere. And Ezekiel does seem to be a character who's been on the chopping block for a while. And if they didn't put him in the Pike scene because they thought, let's be honest, okay? You don't use all, if you're a show writer, you don't use all your firepower. If you think you're going to kill 5 good characters, you don't kill them all at one time. Case in point, the Pike scene. Who was the biggest star in the Pike scene in your mind? Of all the people that got decapitated, who was the biggest name there? If you had to rate them as far as importance. Most people are going to say Tara. Now, think about this for a second, okay? Was Tara a top 5 character on The Walking Dead? Was Tara one of the 5 most important characters on The Walking Dead? Bug says Henry. All right, so almost everybody here is saying no, she's not. All right, I'm going to expand it a little bit. I need you to think about this, okay? Don't just answer. Just think about the importance to you. Was Tara a top 10 character on the show? Top 10. It would be close. Troy, I agree. I had her about 12 or 13. And Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Negan, there's 4 right there. Ezekiel, you could probably argue. Eugene gets more face time. Magna. Judith. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Okay, I'll give you somewhere between 8 and 12, okay? Somewhere between 8 and 12. I'm not going to split hairs, and everybody's going to have their own level of importance. But what I'm saying is, the biggest kill of that Pike scene was not a top 5 character, and it might have barely been a top 10 character. And then after that, who is the second biggest name that was on that Pike scene? All right, so if we say Tara was number 1, number 2, we would argue Enid. Either Enid or Henry. Henry got a lot more face time. Henry's importance to, well, some people are going to say Enid because she was around for so long. But either Enid or Henry. I'm okay with either one. But now all of a sudden, you're dropping down your list of importance down to like 15, 16, 20. I think the days of Glenn and Abraham, 2 marquee stars dying, I think they're gone. Gone. Because if you've got a list of people that you want to kill as a writer, so now I need everybody, take your fan hats off, put your writer hats on. If you're going to kill Rosita, if you're going to kill Ezekiel, if you're going to kill 2 or 3 other characters, space them out for maximum shock effect to the audience. Don't do all your best episode in one episode. You make people watch week to week. So here's the question I have for you. And maybe it's a rhetorical question. It's fine. Why do you tune in for The Walking Dead? The Walking Dead compared to other shows. What is one of the main reasons, the dirty little secret that all of us have with this show, that we always talk about, and the writers know this? What is it that we discuss more than any other show? One of the reasons, the death. We want to see who dies, right? It's what we always talk about. Even when we don't think that's why we're watching, I get it. People are saying the characters, psychology, the bonds, the family, that's fine. But somewhere in the back of your mind, somewhere your drive to watch this show, and what we talk about more than anything else is the death. Who's going to die? Who's going to live? Who's not going to die? And the writers use that. It's the killing. We get attached to a character and then they die, and then we got to build back up. And Maria, I'd say the development of their relationships in relation to when they may die, because this is a show about survival and death. That's pretty much it. The relationships and everything, that constitutes survival. It's what you need to survive. And then the death is the ending of that and the effect it has on everybody else. And we get more views, more comments, more interest, more therapy when we do streams and talk about which characters die. That's what everybody wants to know. We got a super chat here. We got William the Walking Dead billboard. The Pike scene was a build-up. Second Pike scene will be epic and completely heartbreaking. William, if they do a second Pike scene, and this is kind of my point, I think Ezekiel's top 10. I think you could put Ezekiel in there with a whole bunch of nobodies, and it would be just as good as the first Pike scene. That's why I kind of wanted you to do an evaluation. I don't know that you need Ezekiel and Rosita in that. I'm wrong on which one, David? Which comment? Of why people watch The Walking Dead? Okay, well here, David, let me give you case in point. So 2 years ago, I did a video and said that Abraham and Glenn would die. 2.3 million people watched that video. I do streams all the time, and we'll talk about Ezekiel and Carol's relationship. Yeah, 15, 20,000 people watch it. So I would beg to differ. It's a part of it. Yeah, of course people want to see how things play out. But people want to see who dies on The Walking Dead. In fact, I think last season we did a video about the Rick spoiler that came out and whether or not Rick would die. Because it was rumored he was going to die. And I think there were probably 500,000 people that tuned in to see that. So our group, yeah, certainly there's going to be a stronger attachment. But the Walking Dead audience, in its totality, they're tuning in to see who's a goner and how they die and the epic ways they die. If tomorrow there was information out there that Carol would die, and I set up a stream and talked about it, 1 million people would watch it. It is, and that's kind of why I prefaced and said that's Walking Dead's kind of dirty little secret, is they know. And they know that fans, it's a show that was initially set up about zombies biting people. So, to each their own. But they're going to play on those character deaths. And they're not going to let us, if The Walking Dead made us fall in love with every character that's out there, for 2 seasons, it would be probably the most boring show on television. They have to play that balance. Whether we like it or not, they got to give you good times, grow some tomatoes, have a good time, and then all of a sudden, somebody gets decapitated. All right, yep, they build it back up. Think about it. You guys remember Season 9. What was Season 9? We're building. We got windmills. Fresh tomatoes. We're going to a museum. That's what it was all about, right? It was all about we rebuilt. We had a time skip. And then it got dark in a hurry. It was about Jed. And it was about all those things. And it got darker and darker and darker until we got to the Whisperers. And they probably had a little bit of, they're watching movies, right? Thank you, Gushy, for that super chat. Appreciate that. I mean, come on. They got to Herschel's farm. They thought they were safe. They weren't safe. Prison. They thought they were safe. They built up a prison. They weren't safe. Alexandria. They built the walls and got Abraham out there. He's got a construction crew. And they weren't safe. Then they put Negan in jail. And they built it up for the 4th time. And they weren't safe. It ain't going to stop. I mean, it's not. But they got to make us feel good about it. They got to give you a little bit of the good before they pull your world out from underneath you. And it's going to fall again. I mean, now you got Kingdom's gone. Alexandria's going to be gone. Hilltop probably be the only one that makes it. We got Gushy again with that super chat. Thank you so much. I got a feeling. Terry was about to type and hit the send button too early. You don't need to super chat it again. You can just type it. Mods, just look out for Gushy's comment. Tom Ferreira, I like how progressively more darker the season gets. Tom, I think it's going to be the same thing. I think we're going to start out. Look, we're not going to start out at the same place we did last year, with banjo music playing in the background and Rick talking about windmills. But I do think, they just had a snowball fight. Alpha's not around. Looks like the debts might have all been paid. That'd be a little naive for them to think that, but they do, I guess. So I think they're going to have like one eye on preparing, one eye on normal life. But Alpha's going to change all that in a hurry. So I don't think you're going to go from cold to hot this season, but I think you're going to go from warm to hot. And there's going to be other things. Michonne leaving. Negan's arc. I think those will be two of the big stories. Amy Ferreira says, no one's really safe. The Walking Dead is just exaggerated for max effect. And look, we have to be careful. We can't, I know I say this a lot, and it sounds funny when we talk about it. It's a show about zombies, so you can't make everything realistic. And if you don't at least make the characters do some stupid stuff here and there, like we look at it and say, there's no way we would do that. First of all, they live in the same place. I would have moved already. There's a lot of things that we would have done. I understand. But there's only so many stories you can tell, so they've got to make them a little naive, even though they shouldn't be that naive after all these years. Gushe Gushe says, hello 999 Army, and kills. Hope they don't kill Carol, and they kill Alpha and Beta. And I don't think they'll kill Carol for contract reasons. She signed for a while. Alpha, Beta. I think Beta is definitely gone. I am going to say this, though. Is there just the slightest little bit of interest that, well, I hate saying it like this. Fear is still a couple years behind. Doesn't it seem like maybe there was some Whisperer decapitation action going on in Fear, that maybe this Whisperer group or this cult has some different segments to it, has some different places perhaps? Is that too much of a stretch? I mean, there were some heads hanging in the Fear trailer. I mean, that would be a long way for Alpha to move, but they do migrate, and they are a couple years behind. Could they have done some stuff in a couple states down before they ever got to this area? That's all I'm saying. They do travel. Just a little food for thought. But this would be a Super Bowl prediction. I'm not ready to stake my reputation on this one. But I don't think Alpha needs to die. There you go. I've said it. I've said it in a previous video. I said it a year ago. For me, if I'm writing this story, I don't need closures to the Whisperers. You can kill Beta. If Alpha, no, for some people, Alpha needs to die. For me, Alpha could be the kind of person that escapes, regroups, rebuilds, is always lurking. I would like The Walking Dead better if there were multiple enemies, if there was bigger risk. I don't love the station to station. It seems a little too manufactured for me. Jason the mixologist says Beta doesn't need to die. I'm right there with you as well, Jason. Well, hold on. Anita's like, well, what do you want to do with her then? Nothing. Look, in real life, the villains don't always die. The villains don't always get captured. We give that because fans don't want cliffhangers and fans want closure. But you know what? I would be perfectly fine with them moving on to the next chapter, and then out of nowhere, somebody gets decapitated, and it's like, oh, shoot. Yeah, there's some of them still out there. I'm fine with them still being out there. You're going to have this massive group of people that has lived, and they're cruel, and they outsmart people, and they've got you on the run, and they got thousands of walkers, and you're going to kill all of them? Just doesn't seem extremely realistic. Few of them don't escape. They're not still lurking out there. That would be fine for me. I would be okay with that for season 10, 11, and 12. Like, don't answer every question. So this is my question more for the viewers, either the Army or the people watching the playback. This is just my one ask. Those of you, and this is not for everybody because some people don't, but those of you that need every villain dead or need every question answered, why? I just want to know why. I mean, I don't. Julia says, I see what you mean. It isn't as... No, it's not. Villain rises, villain dies. Villain rises, villain dies. Villain rises, villain becomes hero. Villain rises, villain dies. How about... I go back to a wasted character. Kimberly M. I think that Beta will betray Alpha. He seems to have some compassion. Alpha has none. Villain becomes hero. Maybe, Kim. And I wouldn't put it past The Walking Dead because they kill the villain to get to the next villain because it's based on a comic book. It's not based on life. And they write it as such. William the Walking Dead Billboard says we need villains because we have comic book villains on the TV show. Jason the Mix says, I can see Beta's story arc a little similar to Daryl's when The Walking Dead started. There's still room for his character to grow outside of the comics. Possibility. Jason, what would you do? Do you agree with Kimberly M. that Beta could become a hero and fight the next villain? So, I go back to this. The biggest waste of a character on The Walking Dead in the history of Walking Dead was whom? Which character died on The Walking Dead that you feel was the biggest waste of a character? I know a lot of people are going to say Jesus because they want Jesus to... I knew that was going to come out. To me, the two biggest waste in the history of Walking Dead television are Simon and Mel the Vulture. You keep Proctor John alive. You keep Daniel alive. There's rumors Madison's dead, but you got every rumor out there. Mel the Vulture had potential, and Simon. Simon would have been an incredible villain. Did not need to kill him in the most ridiculous, let Negan show his power and strangle Simon to death. Come on. Simon would have been a better crossover character on Fear the Walking Dead than Dwight. Send Simon over with a group of rogues and let them terrorize Fear the Walking Dead. That would have been classic. They blew it in my mind. And you know what else? The villain would have gotten away. But for whatever reason, we kill all the villains. So we can get the next one, bigger and better. Move on to Commonwealth. No. Let's move on to Commonwealth, and let's have a few whispers lurking in the background. Yeah, going down to the well to get some water, probably not a good idea to do that alone. Alpha might still be creeping out there. No, they're going to be building up and riding skateboards and go-karts and all of the above. It's going to be like, hey, that last 6-7 years never happened. But good dialogue. Yeah, I liked Merle too. I mean, could you have seen Simon? You say anything wrong to Simon and he'd, I'm going to need you to rephrase that. Simon is such a good character. I would argue if they would have kept Simon alive, Simon could have rivaled Negan. Funny, clever, condescending, so much potential with that. And, all right, for a quick recap, everybody, we're at an hour and 1 minute. I love doing these early bold predictions because we get some future episodes in there in the mix as well. So this is a little bit of what we got potentially, and next week we'll talk about what we think is going to happen in episode 4. We'll build on top of this. So Alpha, we think, is going to strike. Could be some death. I don't know if it's going to be a full-scale Pike scene, but maybe Ezekiel starts to lose his mind a little bit. You guys have gotten your thoughts. You got your comments in this. Potentially we think there's going to be some death and some blood shed in this episode. We also think that Negan could have to prove himself. Maybe he decides it's time to hit the road. Michonne is going to be possibly looking for Rick. Negan might want to infiltrate the group, get in on the inside, and see if he can take out the group because there's no other way to do it. They don't have the numbers. And potentially a new group introduced because Walking Dead loves to do that stuff. So, hey, I want to thank all of you for being here. I know there's less streams. Enjoy a little bit of springtime. Enjoy a day or two off. Because I'm telling you, in a couple of weeks, it's going to start ramping up in a hurry. You guys remember when it was double shots of kills, where we're doing 2 streams a night? Yes, when we get to June, we're going to be right back where we started from. We're going to be doing madness, spoilers, predictions, theories, multiple shows, Fear the Walking Dead filming, Stranger Things, and we got Game of Thrones going on. So, just a reminder, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Sundays, check out our Facebook fan page. You'll see a schedule that Kelly has posted, so appreciate that. Really quick shout out. I want to say thanks to all the patrons in top left-hand corner. I think we just hit 94 patrons, so we're 6 patrons short from hitting our goal of 100. I think we're going to get there by June. So if you're interested in supporting the channel through a third-party website, we do polls, surveys. I get their opinions, let them know things in advance. There's a link down below. Channel members, top right-hand corner. You can see channel members in green. We're at 65 channel members, another 10, and we unlock another emoji. Don't know what the emoji is going to be, but we'll figure something out. Mods did a great job tonight. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, all the super chatters. Thank you so much to the super chatters. There was a ton of super chats in tonight's episode. So real quickly, before I shout out the Army, let me shout out a few of the super chatters. We had William getting started, Villar, June Smith, Fluff the Flamethrower. Actually, Fluff, you should go with Fluff the Flamethrower. I like that. Anyway, E Beach, thank you so much for all those super chats as well. Tom Bug Ferreira, Sheila Mac 10, RJ Guerrera. Who else we got? Gusha Gushe, Amy Ferrero, Kimberly M, and Jason the Mixologist. Appreciate everything that you guys do in support of this channel. And now for the Army. Everybody here, do me a favor. Pike that like button before you leave. And give me a quick 999 so I can shout out as many people in the stream as we possibly can. Those of you watching the playback, this is the end. Closing credits, you can go ahead and roll out. Those of you still here, then give me a 999. We'll say what's up to Rebecca Mendez, Logan 5, Anita Nokier, Donnie Thompson, Roxanne Dunlap, Tammy Heitzman, June Smith, June, John, Rick Smith. Hippo in the house. What's up, Hippo? Deidre Lesage, thank you. David Henderson, Heather Moore, thank you. Gina Crockett, Lynn Nesvik, Ava Gentry, Rochelle Army Brat, Maria Favada. What's up, Sheila Mac 10? Thank you so much. Had a good time tonight. Natalie, Robin Vance, Heart of Nixie, Julia Drums, Angie Homan, thank you. Pamela Irving, have a good night. Thank you. Zelda Faz, have a good night. Eric C., Marcia Derbyshire, Lisa Chaston, thank you. Northside Queen, Julia Muse, always a pleasure, Julia. Thank you for your participation tonight. Tracy Bledsoe, Jean Alexander, Kamikaze 1, thank you, Cammie. Melissa Conrad, thank you. Hey, a super special shout out. I know, look, everybody's got jobs, they have things going on, but I do want to recognize we got some people that are here almost every night. Not to downplay people. I know you guys watch the playbacks, but some of you guys, I see you every single time that we stream. Thank you so much. Appreciate your involvement and your loyalty. And I know some of the other people will say, hey, when I'm not here, I watch the playbacks. And you guys do. I see some of the comments, but definitely appreciate it. Will the Bill says, can you shout out Rick and Tupac? So, yes, I will shout out Rick Grimes for June Smith and Tupac Shakur for William the Walking Dead Billboard. Thank you, Kimberly M. Have a good night. One thing you guys can do if you watch the playback, comment in real time, because there's other people that they're going to comment on your comments, and you guys see how it works. But in the month of April, I'll go back, either March or April, we had almost 3 million comments on our videos and our streams. So unbelievable interaction and participation. So thank you so much. I'll check and see if it was, it might have been March end numbers, but incredible, incredible participation. And I take a lot of pride in that, because that shows me that people aren't just here. People are here and they're typing and they're participating. So that really, really means a lot to me, that we can, I have people say all the time, hey, I watched your channel for 6 months, never said anything, finally just started talking, interacting. I'm glad I did, made a lot of friends here. It's unbelievable. So I want to say thanks to Carol's Cookies, Crystal Singer Chick Gore, Viola McGowan, thank you. And we are still going strong. So enjoy tomorrow off, everybody. And I will see all of you here. Remember, 8 o'clock Friday for Freestyle Friday. You got legends in the house. Fluff will be there spending his first ever Kills coin. You've got William, the Walking Dead Billboard, has been freestyling people. Like, William watches you guys all week long. And the people that are a little hesitant, he gives them Kills coins and then puts you on the spot. So you got to come up with a topic. It's been madness. So we have a lot of fun with Freestyle Friday. So you guys be here 8 o'clock and you'll see what it's all about. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and I will see you all in 2 days. Peace.